This is for all the newbies or people that are thinking about getting out there with their own caravan, going out camping. Also, you know, for the people that are really experienced with this sort of thing, and there are lots of you out there, you know, if you watch this, then please, by all means, if you have anything to add in the comment section below, please add. Hey everyone, Rick here. Howdy doody campers. I've just poured this. I'm going to try and get through my list of things to discuss with you today and see if I can finish the list before the beer. I'm making this video because one of the camping trips that my wife and I were on, man, did we get bogged. And it's not just the fact that we got bogged. It's the fact that the precarious situation it put us in, and it made us really rethink everything we were doing. So it was in a way, it was a harrowing experience, but we got very lucky. I'll put a card above if you want to see that. That's what brought all this about. So let's get started. The bog hole. The bog hole that started it all. I didn't really want to go through this hole. It was slippery and wet. I didn't seem to be able to get out of the tracks for some reason. Again, you'll see that in the video if you watch it. So I said, well, I've got a winch. I'll just go through the hole. I knew I was going to get stuck. And I'll just take the winch out and away I go. The thing is, the winch didn't work. So and there was nobody around for miles and miles and miles and miles. We took the roundabout way to get to a place called Water Gauge Camp. You couldn't go over the main road on Barrington Tops and drop down because the main road was closed. I think it had a lot of damage from all the rain and stuff. So it's the reason why nobody was there. Instead of maybe an hour from Gloucester, it was like 3.5, 4 hours from Gloucester. Probably 4 hours for us because we didn't really know where we were going. We got lost so many times. Anyway, it made us rethink everything. And the first decision we made, get a new winch. It wasn't even, from taking out the old winch, man, was it in bad shape. It was a King's winch. So to me, probably a little bit on the cheap side, and my way of thinking with just about everything, you get what you pay for. So I bought a new winch. If nothing else, super peace of mind. We were in such strife. We walked out of where we were camped. It was only one way in, one way out. It was about 3 or 4 kilometers. We walked up the top of the hill. We actually barricaded the main road, if you could call it a main road. I guess it was a main road compared to the road we were on. And we barricaded that road and put a help sign on there. The other thing, there was absolutely no reception whatsoever with the phone. Not even a tad bit of bar, even certain times of day. We tried. We climbed up hills. We tried. So the next thing that we decided that we would get is a sat phone. We've got and I did a fair amount of research on all these. We got a Thuraya. It was probably one of the cheaper ones out there. It only works off of, I think, 1 satellite, whereas some of the others work off of several satellites. They're much more expensive. The other thing that sold us on this was that you can start it up where, like, say you're going on the big lap, you can start up your, go online and you can get up and running. I think it's $15 or $16 a month, and then plus any calls you make. But here's the thing. You can text some of your friends and they can call you from their mobile phone, and it's just costing them like a normal phone call, whereas this I think is $1.60 a minute from memory, so it can get up there pretty expensive quite fast. And the guys that actually pulled us out of that bog, they had exactly one of these. Another reason probably why I got this. And they showed me exactly how it worked and how easy that it was, even with just the 1 satellite. This was, I think it was around $1,000. It seems like expensive for a phone, but in our mind, if it can get you saved, if you're in a very precarious situation, then $1,000 is cheap as chips. What is your life worth? I guess that's how we looked at it. So that was the second thing we got. We haven't even turned it on yet, so we haven't. Okay, we're checking this off. Oh, and another thing, one more thing about the phone. If you're out in the middle of nowhere and you haven't got reception, and there's so many places I've been noticing, even after just 5 trips, there's no reception in so many places on the coast. So, what if you or your partner's hurt? And you have no reception, and there's nobody else around. And I guess another biggie, mostly for survival, is we only took 3 days of food with us. What are we having for breakfast, lunch, how many dinners, and all that sort of thing. That's all we had on us, and we started talking about how are we going to make 3 days of food last for 2 weeks. And we figured 2 weeks because the road over the top of Barrington Tops was supposed to be opened up before Christmas. And we knew that at least Christmas time somebody would be around. We'd probably even be able to get them on the UHF. So we thought, well, at the worst case scenario, we can't get out of that bog. We got to make 3 days of food last for 2 weeks. I didn't have a fishing pole right on a river, probably trout in there. Yeah, duh. Anyway, so my wife and I, we dry food all the time, and most of it comes out of our garden. You won't believe it, that is 1 kilo of carrots, and it'll last for years and years and years, and it's very light and takes up very little room. Carrots, pineapple, store-bought, beef jerky. Here's a mix of, if I want to fill up the dehydrator, I have when the frozen mixed vegetables are on sale, like say $1 for a kilo, buy several boxes, and that's what that is. And that's the whole bag. That's a whole kilo bag. I know it's hard to believe, but those of you who dry food, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Bananas, those are off our tree. Potatoes, that's probably 4 or 5 kilos of potatoes. They look like potato chips, but yeah, they'd be pretty hard. Here's sweet potato. I've got pumpkin and all kinds of other things. So we're gonna have a box full of this, not a huge box, but a box of food that if we're going on the big lap or something, and we know we're gonna go a little bit off the beaten track, we're gonna be taking that. Also things like this, small cans of tuna and different kinds of sardines. They pack easily, they're small, so, and then again, there again, it's peace of mind. One of those things that we learned. So moving right along, yes, I'm very, very poor at this. Check everything before you go. Had I have checked the winch to see if it even worked, that probably would have altered our scenario. And just check everything. I now have a habit. I walk around the van, I walk around the truck. I just try to see if anything's out of place. I check all the locks. I check all the clasps that hold things down. I triple check the chains hooked up to the back of the truck and everything like that. I just double check everything now. It's so easy just to forget something. And I hate to admit it, but you know, once I forgot to put the chains on. So that includes the UHF radios. The UHF radios, before I leave home here now, every battery that we use for the drone, the radios, all my cameras, all that, they're all charged up fully before we leave. And that's not more checking that things are right. It's basically just getting prepared for the trip ahead. Okay, recovery gear. I don't know if you could have enough recovery gear. We had a fair bit of recovery gear apart from the winch failing. I think we would have been pretty good in that regard had the winch have worked. So we've got snatch straps, we've got the kinetic rope, we've got the soft shackles, we've got a ton of shackles. Gosh, what is it? There's a thingy you stick in the back of your truck that has a shackle on it so that you're not just pulling off of the tow ball. It basically something that's made. So you've heard about the tow ball snapping, coming back. I saw one where it killed a guy. It snapped, hit him in the head, going at 1,000 miles an hour and just instantly dead. So you might want to think of that. I'm making up 2 toolkits, and one's just a basic toolkit, screwdrivers a small hammer and wrenches and adjustable wrenches and pliers and just, you know, just odds and ends like that. And then there's another toolbox with like Allen wrenches and things, weird kind of stuff that might come in handy. There's also, I'm getting a little box put together with all kinds of nuts and bolts that actually goes on cars. I'm also going to be getting brake pads. I'm going to be getting all the belts that go in the truck if we go on a very long trip. So I just have all that. So if we're out in the middle of somewhere, we're going to be prepared. If you saw the very last video, I think, we were going up to Pebbly Beach, and which we made a video. If you're a subscriber, you know that. We blew a bearing. Literally, I was checking the rear vision mirror, and I thought, is that smoke back there? And sure enough, I pull over, and there's smoke. Anyway, the guys that fixed it said that they get this all the time. This is one thing you may want to check. No matter what trailer you get, no matter what caravan you get, check your bearings. Just take that off and have a check. You might just have to pack some grease in there, because they said all they do is they just stick a bit of grease in there, only enough to get by. They said it was dry. They said they'd never seen one so dry. And they checked the other side while they're at it, and they said the same thing. It wasn't blowing or anything. It was still working fine, but they packed it with grease. Okay. Another thing I got to thinking was water. Now, our little camper trailer, I think, holds 170 liters. A lot of water, so, you know, we're not going to run out. But I got to thinking, what, you know, going down a rough road and, I don't know, a stick or some sort of rock punctures, and it's right on the bottom of the trailer. What if it gets punctured and we get to camp and there's no water? So we bought a 20-liter water can that we, no matter what, we'll always have 20 liters if we have. So that'll just at least get us out of trouble. Keys. These are all the keys. Actually, this is only some of the keys to the camper trailer, the back of the canopy. I need all these keys, plus there's more. So I'm thinking, if I ever do this again, I'm going to make it so that I can get by with maybe 2 or 3 keys for everything. And there are ways to do that. I just never knew that. If you know that now, oh my God, I stopped there and think, oh, which key is it? I'm going through here, and then like these, see these two, absolutely identical, but they're not. So I'm going, okay, what's the number on there? 001. Oh yeah, that's that one down there. Oh gosh. It's a pain in the ass, an absolute pain in the ass. Might want to give that some thought. I fitted out our canopy on my own, apart from the electrics. And there's all this space everywhere. And everyone's saying, you'll use up that space, you'll find something for it, you know, don't worry, you'll find that you're going to be running out of space. Well, we've been on our 5th trip, and we know for a fact we are running out of space. I've gone, at the moment, in between lots of stuff and behind the slide-out pantry and all that, things are getting thrown in there, and a lot of it is recovery gear. I've got a lot of recovery gear, ropes, like we talked before. So what I've done, I've gone ahead and I've purchased and had sent up 2 of those under tray boxes, you know, with they're kind of weird looking, so that your departure angle stays right. So all the recovery gear, or most of the recovery gear, 95% of it is going in those 2 boxes, and it's going to free up quite a bit of space in the canopy, plus 3 drawers I'm using for it. So that's another thing, space. And if I ever redo another canopy, I'm going to give it a lot more thought where things go. I think that's it. I'm on a lot of Facebook groups, and a lot of people asking, you know, I'm going here, I'm a newbie, never drove on sand, this and that and the other. And they ask, what should we be taking? So hopefully this will help people like that out. I'm not that experienced. I consider myself maybe a notch or 2 just above newbie level. Like, you know, I've been driving, I've had 4-wheel drives all my life, but like I said, that bog was an absolute wake-up call. And look, I've been camping before, but nothing like we camp today. All this gear, we didn't have all the kind of gear that we've got today. That's one more thing I forgot when we're talking about the sand, is the tire deflators. I've got actually 2 sets of tire deflators, and one is set for 18. So if I know that I'm going on the beach, they go straight down to 18. If for some reason it's really soft sand, I can just get out and manually take them down to, like, say, 15. 12 if I have to. I've got another one set up, and I saw this on YouTube somewhere, and I put a mark on it from the very bottom, and if I take it one revolution around and line up that mark again, it's at 35. And if I do it one more time, it's at 30, the other time is 25, and the next one is 20. So I can, you know, if you need to just go down for a rough road or corrugations, I know I got to go only 2 or maybe 3 turns. So I've got 2, and that's why I've got 2 sets. Haven't put it in yet. Their RV Wi-Fi. Now I know it's not the best thing out there. Everyone talks about the Star Trek or whatever that is, and it's better, but a lot more expensive. So this is supposed to work pretty darn good. So maybe at a later date I'll make a video on just how good this is when we start really getting out and about. But that's going in maybe in the next month or 2. So anyway, apart from that, hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you next time. The next time we'll be at, we're going to Delicate Camp, just up north, just above Fort McQuarrie. So until then, safe travels, happy campers.